Everybody. I am gonna make another Burning Man video. I just returned from Burning Man. There's gonna be some similarities to last year's Burning Man video, but I want to update my perceptions, thoughts, experiences, etc. If I am able to afford to go to Burning Man next year, then I'll make another video next year. First, I wish to insert some commentary. I've watched a few Burning Man videos on YouTube, and most of the videos I've seen, they seem to be just like, look at these beautiful people having so much fun. Listen to this trippy music. Ooh, look at all this flashy, glittery lights. Blah. And really, it's like the video just seemed to be looking at the surface futures of Burning Man, and these videos have like 200,000 hits or something, and my video will get like 50 hits or whatever. In my opinion, I'm sorry, but that is superficial as fuck. Human beings can do better than that. And although I do not claim to be any kind of authority on as far as like what is Burning Man, what is the meaning of at least I'm going to make the attempt, to describe the substance, the interiority of Burning Man, and at least I can guarantee that I will, partially at least, I will partially describe my own individual experience of what Burning Man is. Okay, if I were to provide a definition, an essential nuts and bolts, most fundamental, nature, blah blah blah, of what Burning Man is, I define Burning Man as the opposite of war. Burning Man, it involves just as much planning, just as much deliberateness, just as much intention, as much organization, as energy, as passion, as war, but instead of being directed towards destroying human beings and human creations, it is directed towards human beings being as awesome as they can be and being as awesome as they can be to each other. I mean, Burning Man, that's like the intensity of it. Like there's so many, 70, there's so many people having such like intense, real experiences of so much energy, so many like art, so much the art pieces everywhere. It's like this, the intensity of it is like at times it's like it's so overwhelming, it's so over the top. At times it's almost unbelievable. It's hard to even believe that it's actually real. But of course, you have no choice but to believe that it's real because it's right there. It's happening. Holy shit, it's actually right there, in you, outside of you, everywhere. It's actually freaking existing. And it just like there's like 70,000 people, and they're just like there's there to have such like there's so many of them. Almost all of them are so creative and so high energy, and they're having such real experiences, and they're so open to connecting with each other. It's like so easy to have like to open conversations with strangers and to like connect with people. It's just phenomenal. Like it really, I feel like it brings me so in touch with like just like myself and with this like the nature, he with like the essence of what it is to be human. Like personally, what I find most like meaningful at Burning Man is the varieties of direct human connection interaction. Like I have so many high energy, sincere, real conversations with people. There's such a variety of like high energy interactions with people, from hugs to making weird noises together to like cooperative, improvised, like mindfuck storytelling that I just like, just that direct interpersonal connection, interaction. I feel that I learned so much about myself and about human nature. Um, Whew! All right, so I'm going to provide a few examples, just, specific examples, specific stories, helps you, it just makes sense. Okay, it makes sense. So, all right, so one evening, it was like, late at night, and I mean, or whatever, it was at nighttime, and it was really, really dark outside, and I was, biking around in the open playa, and playa, that's the name of the type of desert where Burning Man takes place, and like the playa is just like dust and bacteria. There are no cacti, no plants, no rodents, no birds, no coyotes, nothing like no, simply dust and bacteria. And I'm biking out in the open desert, and there's all kinds of art installations, art pieces out in the desert. And, that's basically, I'm looking for just, for art pieces and to talk to people. And I see some like blinky lights off in the distance over yonder. I'm like, oh, those blinky those blinky lights must be an art piece. So I bike my way towards those blinky lights. I bike there. When I get those blinky lights, it turns out those blinky lights are not actually an art piece. They're some girl's bicycle. This girl, she's like, spread angled on the desert floor, looking up into the sky, the beautiful stars up above. And I just like bike up to her. I'm like, whoa, hey, hello. And it's like a little bit awkward, for the first few moments. wasn't expecting a human being to be there. Then we, fall in the conversation, and I sit down on the desert floor, and we just talk for like 25 minutes or something. We like talk to each other. And, we talk about Burning Man and life and all kinds of stuff. And then at a certain point, I propose that, well, how about you tell me a story about your life, from your experiences, and I'll reciprocate and I'll tell a story from my own experiences. And then okay, she's like, awesome. And then she tells me, a story about her first Burning Man, how she biked from Seattle to Burning Man in Nevada, and she told me, described how intense of an experience that was, biking all the way from Seattle to Burning Man. And then it was my turn to tell a story, and I was like, when I tell her a story, a Burning Man story, and it was just like I'm telling you right now. But then she suggested that, how about you tell me a story about your first love? And then I think, well, that would be an awesome story to tell. Yeah, fuck, I haven't told a story in a while. So then I tell her the story about like the first time that I felt I was in love, and it was like a 10-minute story, and it's like, really personal and really intimate. And I had not told that story for 2 or 3 years. I don't even quite remember how long it's been since I told that story, but like, she was completely listening, and we were there just in the floor of the desert, and I, told her the story for my life, the first time I fell in love, and like, and then I had to be off. There was like a whiskey and philosophy interactive event scheduled somewhere, and I had to get to that thing, and so I was off, but still, she and I, we had this like really real, sincere, meaningful, and somewhat intimate conversation together. We'd never met in our entire lives. And the thing at Burning Man, that is simply utterly normal for two people, human beings who never before have ever met, to have like a real, meaningful interaction just out of the blue like that. That's completely, utterly, simply normal at Burning Man. And it's like, yeah, it's beautiful. It's awesome. So another example, every time that I go to Burning Man, I spend a significant amount of time at the spoken word stage at Center Camp, and there's always an open mic, portion of the spoken word stage. And this year, the host of the, spoken word open mic he was calling it the open as fuck mic, meaning that you can go up on stage, and as long as you are not like doing copyrighted material or spewing hate, you can say anything that you want, anything at all. And so, and I went up on stage a few times and said some stuff, different stuff, poetry and whatever. But there's one really cool moment, co-created experience there at the spoken word stage, during the open as fuck mic, where some girl got up on stage, and she was like overflowing with like energy, with emotional enthusiasm, passion, like even euphoria. Even she was like so overflowing with happiness and joy, and she just like got up and did this like stream of consciousness, spontaneous thing. It was a blend of movements and weird noises and just stream of consciousness thoughts. She got up there and was giggling, and she put the microphone between her legs, and she bent over and talked into the microphone. Oh, so this is what it's like to introduce myself in this moment. And then she got up and made noises. And then she just a stream of consciousness, like rant, dialogue, poetical. The emotions were dominant, so the thoughts were disjointed. But it didn't. But that's the whole thing is it was it's an expression of the moment itself. So it's like the disjointedness of the thoughts were just like poetry. They had a poetical quality to them, and she was like just ranting and talking and about the clouds. Who knows the clouds? Where are they going? Where do they come from? What is the nature of the clouds? Who is acquainted with the clouds? What do we know about the clouds? And then after talking about the clouds for a while, then she made some noises, and then she got off of the stage and got into the floor ground there, and she invited the whole audience to come up to the microphone, and then people did. Almost everyone in the audience came up. We held circles in the hand, and she's like, all is one, all is love. Speak, what you feel, speak yourself, share yourself. And then the microphone went around the circle, and people, spoke whatever was on their mind or made weird noises. Me personally, I just made some weird noises. And it was just like, and so there's an utter dissolution of the boundary between the performer and the audience, and suddenly we just share this co-created experience where everyone is expressing themselves, together. It's like saying whatever it is they wish to say into the microphone. And things at Burning Man, that too is another example of something which is utterly simply normal, where people have so much energy, the spontaneity of the moment, it's just so immediate and compelling and fascinating that people just come together and just make are creative together. It's like that. It's utterly normal at Burning Man. Okay, so one more example. Three is like, I don't know, three is a number, so I'm just gonna give one more example here. I went to a workshop and the workshop was called Genderless Polarity Games. I don't really know what that means. I could probably speculate, but anyway, I think as far as I can tell, the gist of it I got is that the facilitator of the workshop was trying to explore like masculine and feminine sexual energies, and she had us do different interactive activities. You find a partner, do an interactive activity, and one like interactive activity I did it with we each did it with two different partners, and each time there was two rounds. And so, like, like an activity, so you find a partner, you sit down facing each other. So I found a partner each time. We sat down facing each other, cross-legged, our knees were touching. Then each person, close your eyes. Okay, so we close our eyes. I have my partner, I'm facing my partner. We each close our eyes, and you find your partner's hands with your eyes closed. And then one person decides to lead. This is the first round, one person leads, and the next round, the other person leads. And the activity was basically like hand dancing, or actually the way it was presented, narrated, emphasized in the workshop by the facilitator, is it was hand love making. Find your partner's hands in space, your eyes closed, and just play with the hands, dance with the hands, and actually make love to your partner's hands. Pretend that you were making love to a lover, and treat your partner's hands, the way that would treat a lover while making love to them. Just explore the sensual energies, and try to, and just really, really, find, and for me, it was just so fascinating. Just like all we're doing is simply playing with each other's hands, and there was just like so much, like it was so intimate. This with somebody I've just met, it was so intimate. There's so much like richness and subtlety of interaction. There's so many like subtle and layered emotions, like so much interaction, so much like took place. Each round was like for 5 or 10 minutes or something, and it's like it's just fascinating that there's just so much just like intimacy and just so many different emotions and forms of interaction like taking place between two people I've never met through such a simple activity. And it's like a slightly mildly mind boggling that like potentially I could have a comparable experience with anyone. It's all it is, sit down and play with each other's hands. Such a simple activity, yet so much intimacy and connection and interaction, layers of interaction, through such a simple activity. And I could do that with anyone. And it's like, that's mildly mind blowing. All of Burning Man is mildly mind blowing. But of course, anything which is mind blowing is mild because if it blows your mind, you're still right there. Anything which is profound is matter of fact. Hey, reality is simply full of polarities and paradoxes and simply how things are. Whoo! And, so 70, okay, 70,000 people at Burning Man, that's just a minority of the total population of the human race. There are lots of, historical, economic, technological, etc. conditions that allow for Burning Man to take place, but it does take place. And if it's real, it's real. The fact that it's like, only a few people get to experience it does not detract one bit, from the actual meaning significance of, of just like the meaning and significance that individuals experience at Burning Man. And more than anything, it's like so I'm there and I really feel like it's just so beautiful, like the art that is created and the openness people have to each other, the interactions that takes place. It makes me feel like that human beings are a miracle. That really makes me feel that human beings like are miraculous, and it just shows me, yes, it proves to me through the actual fact that it's real, that it exists, that human beings can be awesome. It actually is possible for human beings to be awesome, for like the nobler, more beautiful qualities of human beings to be dominant, and it's actually is possible. And like one of the most like unbelievable one like of the unbelievable things about Burning Man is it actually makes me feel optimistic about human beings. It makes me just like it just like it it just actually I experience this positive potentials of human beings actually becoming real. It's like, wow, human beings actually can be good to each other. It just like it's like, and that's like, well, even if it's like 70,000 now, hey, if it can exist, it can exist on a larger scale. So Burning Man actually makes me feel optimistic about human beings and human potential. And personally, I really, it's, and there's lots of cynicism about human nature. But really, cynicism about human nature is just a form of laziness because it's totally possible, and there's overwhelming amounts of evidence in reality to actually support such a belief system or whatever you call it. But it's entirely possible to be optimistic about human beings. But the thing is, it takes more effort to be optimistic about human beings and human potential. And so it's like it just takes more effort, more energy, and being, it's easier just to be cynical about human beings, but being cynical about human beings really is just a form of laziness. It's simply the absence of the effort to really appreciate and connect with and strive to nourish and facilitate the more positive, nobler qualities of human nature. So that's that. All right, so I'm going to share one last little thing here about a person, like a little expansion of self-awareness that I experienced at Burning Man, and like it's on a certain conceptual level, this like personal insight is something which I've already had before this like Burning Man, but now it's like I don't know, it's a deeper, richer, more contoured, more textured, more intuitive, more instinctual, more present realization, embodiment of this particular self-insight, and it has to do with my own, like, just my own personality, basically. How my own interpersonal mojo. Okay, so I have a T-shirt, and the T-shirt says "socially fucking awkward as fucking a fuck." Socially fucking awkward as fucking fuck. I'm fucking socially awkward. I embody social awkwardness, and thing is, my social awkwardness, it never goes away. It's perpetual. It is inexorable. It's continuous. It is unrelenting. It never ceases, not even for a bit, except when I'm asleep. But when I'm awake, it never ceases. And so if it never goes away, it never ceases. It's perpetual, and I have no choice. It doesn't make any sense to like do anything except to own the shit out of it. The thing is, before this particular Burning Man, my thoughts were, oh yeah, of course I should own my social awkwardness. But now I realize I should own the shit out of my social awkwardness. And there's like, I have lots of experiences where like, I'm more socially fluid, more emotionally fluid, more witty, more cool, more hip, more sexy, all that stuff, more eloquent, elegant, and then like when I'm not as sexy, not as witty, not as, cool or socially or emotionally fluid or whatever, it's like, then I'm like, oh man, I know that it's possible. I know that I'm capable of that. I have these memories here. And so it's like, I just like, there's this odd feeling inside of myself where I'm actually resisting myself on some level. It's like, it doesn't, I'm not fully aware of it always at the time, but like actually it is a form of self-resistance where like I'm like, man, I should be able to do something, inside of myself to make myself that witty or cool or eloquent or whatever, or socially, and then things, reality is that, if I'm not in a state where I'm able to access that personal mojo, if I'm not in a state where I'm able to access, those more, my more, my abilities to be wittier or sexier or more cool or whatever, then it's simply not there. And that's that, and so I'm not, it's simply impossible for me to be as sexy or witty or whatever as I want to be all the time. And so it's a new, it's like, and the response is just, it's like, okay, well, I don't have access to that part of myself right now, then I'm just socially awkward, and that is fucking awesome. And so really this is just a new form of an expansion, a deepening, and enrichment of self-acceptance, and it feels good. Go figure. People say, "Oh, I don't like reality," but really, the solution to reality is more reality. Actually, and like the more one learns to embrace reality, the more one learns to embrace reality, the more one realizes that like embracing reality, of course, you're more directly confronting the ugliness and shit that is painful and not happy in the world. But the more you embrace all that, the more you're able to embrace all the stuff which is beautiful and joyful and inspiring and good. And really, the solution to reality is more reality. So freaking, like, I don't know. I mean, I could elaborate upon that, but I'm not going to right now. Hopefully it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense. I'm just going to close this video on one little statement here. I'm somewhat appropriating this statement from someone else, but it resonates with me so deeply that I'm making it my own. I am you, born under different circumstances. So let's get weird with that.